song, and hopefully Luis will reappear. In the meantime, then, we will look to our next speaker, Peter Maberjuk, who is the Director of Access to Medicines at Public Citizen here in DC, and is fighting for a people's vaccine as well. So welcome to the stage, Peter. Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes, voy a hablar en inglés y puedo traducir después si se quiere. Dear Mr. President, we thank you for helping our communities begin turning a corner in our fight against the pandemic. Yet even as we together advance the broadest vaccination campaign in our country's history, for most of the world, there is no relief in sight. More than 1 year into this story of suffering and death, there still is no global plan to end the pandemic. No plan from the G7 today, from world leaders who issued a statement, no plan to end the pandemic. More than 100 days into your term, Mr. President, there is no plan from your government to help end the global pandemic. There is no plan from world leaders anywhere to provide vaccine access to everyone, everywhere. This is inconceivable to us and horrific. Our sisters and brothers are dying worldwide. Families do not know when their suffering, when their waiting might end. And we know that our government has the power to help if it chooses. So we call on you today, Mr. President, to launch an ambitious global vaccine manufacturing program urgently for and with the world, using the full capabilities of our government urgently to end the pandemic. The United States, we know because we've analyzed and we've spoken with experts around the world, the United States can help produce billions more doses of safe and effective COVID vaccine in less than a year's time. By retrofitting facilities, training the staff, sourcing materials, coordinating the supply chains around the world, for $3 per dose, we can reach half the world's population in a year. End vaccine apartheid, stop the shortfall, end the pandemic. The United States can work with the World Health Organization to establish regional hubs and manufacturing so the world can supply itself, hubs equipped with adaptable technologies that protect against future threats. And the United States can share technology, support the goddamn TRIPS waiver, it's not that hard, what the hell? Share vaccine recipes with the world. Teach the world to make safe and effective vaccines. Sit down with the companies. Tell them, you are going to cooperate. You are going to gear up manufacturing worldwide. We know that we can do this. What's missing is the will to act. Your will, Mr. President, your political will to act. So we are here to supply that. Our country's history, the world's history, shows that by mobilizing extraordinary resources and working with partners everywhere, we can solve the most challenging problems and support humanity in times of great need. This is one such moment, and there is no time to lose. We call on you to launch an urgent global manufacturing program for the world to get vaccines to everyone, everywhere, without exception, and end this pandemic now. Signed, by the way, 66 health and development organizations working here in the United States: Amnesty International, Partners in Health, Oxfam, Prep for All, Health Gap, many of our friends that I see here today, and all of us here at Public Citizen, calling on the President to act now. We need a much more ambitious response. I want to thank all of you who have gathered here today. It's a very difficult time to gather. It's hard to get away from our families. It's hard to wrestle with the issues and the distance of the pandemic to put together an event like this. I really appreciate the extraordinary efforts. Our times, will be remembered for what we do or fail to do here today. Whether we answer the world's call or whether our world is so unjust that we are incapable of looking beyond ourselves. It's a great test of whether there is such a thing as progress or morality or justice. My daughter Maya was born in the first weeks of the pandemic. It is all she has known, masks and distance and struggle, huddled at home. Now with these publicly funded, by the way, publicly pioneered vaccines, we paid for them, we created them going back 15, 20 years. Our government has been developing these vaccines, not just these corporations. Thanks to that extraordinary effort of all of us together to create a people's vaccine, my family's able to start planning a future, having received my second dose last week. A future where little Maya, can know other children. But billions of people around the world, families all around the world, are not in this situation yet. They can't plan. All they can do is wait and fight like hell for their rights and their survival. And we're going to fight like hell with them. Free the vaccine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. And Meredith, you better be careful touching that mic, because Peter just lit it on fire!
I'll give you a little spray. We got Luis though. Yeah, we have Luis. Yeah. So, Luis, I think you're here. It's okay. Nuestro amigo dominicano, who's going to come and talk to us a little bit about what's been happening in Cuba and his experiences with the Cuban vaccine, potentially the real people's vaccine. We shall see. Luis, bienvenido.
Yes. Hello, I just arrived here. So Cuba has been developing vaccines, and they have not only one vaccine candidate, that have not only two, not three, not even four, they have 5 vaccine candidates in the pipeline. And you might ask how this small developing country that has been facing a lot of struggle because of US politics in a big way, because of 60 years of abuse by the US and other countries that have Cuba under an embargo, an unfair embargo. How did Cuba, how did they achieve this? To have 5 vaccine candidates, 2 which are in phase 3 trials, potentially going to be approved soon. It is because they chose a different way, a different paradigm. They share know-how among each other. They collaborate with other countries. They do South-to-South technology transfer. And so they follow that different paradigm of open collaboration. And that's how they are able, with very little resources, with a lot of adversity, to create vaccines. And they publicly fund their research, and they also attach affordability concern to the research, because that's their goal, not profit, but threatening public health. And they want to help. They are trying to export their vaccines to other countries, potentially even to the US, but if not, to European countries and to South American countries, which really need help right now. There are people that are dying in the global South, and they will take any help that they can take, and the Cubans vaccine could help. But one thing, and this is a rally in the US, so one thing the US can do to help create what can potentially be a people's vaccine is to eliminate the embargo against Cuba, to help them, to allow them to build their vaccines, and to allow them to export to other countries. And the Biden administration should also support the TRIPS waiver. It's not that hard, like Peter just said, and should promote know-how, transfer of know-how, so that every company out there that can manufacture a vaccine to start doing it now, and they can do it, and they have said, we can help. We have many companies out there saying we can help and are not doing it because of intellectual property barriers. So let's have a waiver, let's help the Cubans, and let's transfer know-how. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Luis. Big round of applause for Luis, por favor. So we are about to come to our last and final speaker, but we've been talking a lot about freeing the vaccine, right? And no vaccine apartheid. We should free the vaccine. We are also going to show the US government how easy it is to share. And we're going to share, if you stick around, after our last speaker, we're going to share in some food, some ice cream and some protest pie with you. We're going to show you how you can do that for free. So stick around. But last but certainly not least, we would like to welcome Amira Woods, who is from the Advocacy Network for Africa and Africans Rising for Justice, Peace and Dignity. Yes, thank you.
Hello, brothers and sisters! Hello, brothers and sisters! It is such a joy to be with you all. I have to say, I am here so honored representing the Advocacy Network for Africa, over 200 organizations doing advocacy on US-Africa policy, and Africans Rising for Justice, Peace, and Dignity. Over 30,000 members on the continent and in the diaspora rising their voices to say no to vaccine apartheid, to say that healthcare is a right that must be encouraged, that must be embraced, that must be celebrated by all. Let me tell you, I'm from Liberia, but I like to use this term called Ubuntu. Can you say it with me? Ubuntu. Say it one more time. Ubuntu. I am because you are. You are because I am. We cannot have just some of us in certain zip codes, in certain wards, getting access to the vaccine, getting access to the treatment. That is the inequality of this system that strips away human dignity and human rights. So we are here to say no. What are we saying? No. What are we saying? No. But we are also here to lift up the courageous leadership. Let us remember, back in October, it was South Africa, a courageous South African trade negotiation. Often they're buried in the details of the words, right? But beyond the words, they saw people, and they've started to fight to say we must demand that the World Trade Organization free the vaccine. Free the vaccine. Free the vaccine. We must also understand that we are ready. We are ready. It is places like Senegal's Pasteur Institute that are already ready to manufacture those vaccines. It is places in Brazil, in India, people that are like many of us that we heard today with the yellow, right? The yellow memorial of those who lost their parents. We know the pain. In my family, we've lost 4. We've lost 4. The most recent, 2 weeks ago. We have felt the pain as Black, brown, and indigenous people around the world, and we say, no more. No more. Not one more death. Free the vaccine. So I'm also here to say thank you to the ancestors for holding off on the rain, right? Thank you to all of you for coming out today. We are coming as people who have lost loved ones. We are coming as academics. We are coming, where is my beautiful sister? As doctors and their children. We are coming as physicians fighting for human rights. But we are coming as people in the human family, saying that every life is precious. Black lives matter. Free the vaccine. So stand with me. Are you all ready? I believe repeat what June Jordan said. We are the ones we've been waiting for, right? Repeat after me. I believe. I believe that we. I believe that we will. I believe that we will win. 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 Tell that to Biden. Tell that to all in the WTO. And keep up the fight today, tomorrow, and the days to come. We need you. Stay strong, friends. Stay strong. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your powerful words. So, we need to turn that into action, and if there's some recipe cards about how to free the vaccine being passed around, if you could take a look at those right now, and call the number Joe Biden on the back immediately, and you can do it, they're in, están en español también, and once you've made that phone call, we'd like to see you calling right now, before our performers come up, and then we pass along to Yadi Ya and our go-go band for today, who Yadi's going to introduce. We would like you to make that phone call, and then you can exchange your card for a protest pie, or a Mexican ice, or from the ice cream van, to show everybody that we're grateful for you being here. Okay, so we have some breaking news. The US will support a proposal to waive IP protections for COVID-19 vaccines. Woo! And the US is about to participate in negotiations on the text for the World Trade Organization. This is coming from where? From Bloomberg. I think you called it. I think this might mean that we might have won the TRIPS waiver support from the United States of America's government. Do you want to say, we're not, we're not sure yet. Do you want to comment?
I believe that we can win. So look, this is the U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai is reportedly from Bloomberg going to engage in text-based negotiations, which does not mean we've won, but it does mean that we will win. Because what the U.S. had been doing until now was using its power at the World Trade Organization to say that we'll just keep on asking questions. We will run out the clock. There will not be a moment where we will sit down with developing countries and actually talk to them about what they are demanding, and instead we will just stall and stall and stall. And until this moment, that has been the U.S. position. And over the last 3 weeks, the pressure that they have come under has been huge from this movement, and they have agreed that they will sit down and negotiate to have a TRIPS waiver at the World Trade Organization. That is the report, at least.
So, as we all know, there is no movement without music and culture. However, before we close, I would like to ask everyone to stand in solidarity with me. We have lost 6 to COVID-19, and my middle son, Demetrius Mathis, is right now at George Washington University fighting for his life with COVID pneumonia. And so it is in that spirit that I want to ask my granddaughter to come up and sing his favorite song.
Hello, my name is Naila, and I'm going to be singing in Kiswahili. Sike Lely, Africa. Pandu Wandini de Sapewayo. In the Linden Tanda, Zoyetu. Sili, Sike Leila. Kosi de Sapewayo. In the Linden Tanda, Zoyetu. Sili, Sike Leila. Kosi de Sapewayo.
Thank you, Naila. And without further ado, once again, we're going to bring forth the dynamic.
All hail the creatives. Just the latest news flash that is official from the Ambassador Catherine Tai on the COVID TRIPS waiver. Representative Catherine Tai today released a statement announcing the Biden-Harris administration's support for waiving intellectual property protections for COVID-19. This has never been done before in history.
Yes, yes!
Please still call Joe Biden immediately on your phones and follow the text and support what we're asking for. And thank you to everybody who's been organizing for the past year for this. Please go get an ice cream as well, but wait for the performance from All Hail the Creatives. Thank you so much.